I'm Jeanette Abrahamsen, Vice President of Marketing at Trade Hounds, and it is National Apprenticeship Week. I'm here with Natasha Sherwood with IEC. Thank you for inviting us to today's event. Let's start by talking about what we're doing here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. So today we were doing National Apprenticeship Week, Apprenticeship Works. And this was a regional kind of conglomeration convening of all of our career sources in this region. And career sources in Florida are broken up by different sector kind of region areas. 4 of them came together to put together this event to talk about how industry could integrate apprenticeship into their programs, into their employments, because sometimes people get a little scared, like, oh, there's too much to do. So what they did was they brought in different individuals, employers or associations like IEC to talk about why and how and who do I talk to do this. So we got the opportunity to meet and network with individuals, talk to actual apprentices who've been through the program, and then we get to talk about why do we do what we do? What's the ROI on it? IEC, we got to share that, like, hey, as a group, my new kind of thing I love saying is we hide the wire behind the walls. So you get to do what you do really well, build the building, service everything. We take care of the RTI, the OGT, all the details. And so we got to share that. So maybe another employer might say, okay, apprenticeship might be for me. And then we got to see 2 apprentices complete their graduation, complete their program, get their certificates today. So it was neat. And then we heard from apprentices of the year in the past of how they've moved up. And so for that, for this situation, it was really just celebrating what apprenticeship is and maybe encouraging a few more people to try it, talk about it, and really see where it's going. It was very much construction for so long. Like, we know apprenticeship. Now it's IT and healthcare, robotics. We had robotic dogs walking around, So that was today was to really bring it together. And we had guests from the Department of Labor in Washington, D.C. down. Megan Burr was down here. We had the head of Career Source Florida. We had Florida Commerce. It was a really neat event.
And this is just one of, I read, it was like 2,800 events happening this week, making it like the largest National Apprenticeship Week in history.
It is the largest one. We moved it, DOL, Department of Labor, moved it into the spring. It used to be in November, which was just hard. It was middle of the year, Thanksgiving. So last year they moved one day, and then this year they moved the full week, and it definitely was a great move. In addition, as they were making this week, they started including individuals outside the Department of Labor. So I got to be a little bit of a part of the launch and innovating. Assistant Secretary Henry Mack is a former Florida. He's Florida Chancellor of Education. He's moved up there, and he is a very innovative thinker. And his direction to me was like, let's be innovative, come up with ideas. So their team was so on board with coming up with new ideas, helping with proclamations, coming up with different events, and really publicizing it out using social media. And so we really tried to provide information to everybody across the country. And then from IEC standpoint, we took our marketing team and they created pre-made posts and helped with proclamations to make it really easy, suggested events, even little videos they could pop in. And yeah, we hit over 2,800 events across the country and proclamations to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. Well, we have to hit 1 million apprentices per the president, so we've got to do everything we can.
Yeah, this has been really exciting to see all of your pictures on LinkedIn. You're like all over the place. You always are, but like especially this week and everything you've done with the Department of Labor. I know this is like a huge initiative, and I also read, apprentices have been in the news a lot because of a lot of the new administration's initiatives, but also a lot of money going into it. I heard $145 million is now being invested into helping people onboard apprentices. So tell me a little bit about your role in that.
So the DOL, I say Assistant Secretary Mack was confirmed in December, and I think he worked all of Christmas and New Year's Eve break. They came out with all kinds of grants to support pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship. The $145 million is based off a pay-for-performance grant. It'll be awarded to 5 different organizations that'll be across 4 sector industries and then 1 open industry. And this is really to exactly what it says, pay for performance. So sponsors of the program, so like an IEC chapter, IEC Florida West Coast, after they complete a certain amount of days, they would be able to receive a certain amount of funds to reimburse them. So, so if we have Jeanette and she finishes her first 90 days, then Florida West Coast would receive a certain amount of dollars. After a year, they would receive a certain amount of dollars. So the idea is to get people enrolled and then to offset some of those costs, because we know the sponsors and the employers are bearing a lot of that burden. In many states, they're paying for the tuition, they're also paying the wages, they're paying the journeyman who's then mentoring that person. So trying to take that burden off, and to me, it's the analogy of, I have two daughters in college, as you know, and they are taking courses. They have scholarships and different resources that are paying for that courses. And I love them. They're doing great courses, but one of them had to take a course. It's a Quest course. Great, expanding their knowledge. It was on dinosaurs. She's a sports management major. I'm glad she got to learn about dinosaurs. But if we can fund that from the Department of Education for her to learn about dinosaurs and for her to open her mind, and I am all for it. She also learned how to boil eggs in college. I think that's ecstatic. But if we can pay for that from college, then we can find funding to pay for apprenticeships. And so Pay for Performance was the first kind of step in that direction on a mass scale. What we also saw was Arkansas Manufacturing Fund. It's not just for Arkansas, so if anybody's listening, it's for anybody involved in the manufacturing portion of it, even electrical, anything that goes into manufacturing. And it's so easy. So literally you put in you apply for it. You don't have to put like writing. You put your name, your Rapids numbers, and they get to then do some funding for those individuals in that program. So it's a proven method that's starting to really bear fruit. Some other grants that have come out were state improvement grants. So for the states to improve and advance their apprentice programs. So really encouraging them to jump on board with that. There were some community college ones that were specifically for community college and state colleges to get into the industry, to start finding out how can we put apprenticeship, whether that is in specific occupations or is there an articulation between apprenticeship into college. And then there was a Restart grant, which is super exciting. It's what it sounds for, Restart for those with second chance or kind of justice impacted situations. And it's specifically called out apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship for getting those people back into the workforce. And then they've also launched some RFPs, requests for proposals, for individuals to come, for individual intermediaries to come in and actually start funding the education about apprenticeship and to help grow, to find subject matter experts that can help an organization grow what they have, expand, get new standards, and then just recently an AI grant. So again, an RFP, request for proposals to integrate AI into the apprenticeship world, whether that is actual occupations in AI, which we just heard about yesterday in DC with Google, Lockheed Martin, a lot of these big industries that are using AI to train the employees, but also to implement AI into regular apprenticeship programs, so make it part of the learning process. We know AI is not going to replace an electrician, but we know AI can be used by electricians, so how can we? So that's going to be a little, changing, maybe turning the Titanic a little bit for some people, but we're already implementing it in our pre-apprentice program, and we partnered with an organization called Pace AI. That Pace AI runs next to our curriculum, ingests it, scaffolds it down to low-level readers, so someone who maybe didn't do well at reading or math can now complete the program, and also translates it 250 different languages to learn electrical, but they're also learning English along the way. So we're trying.
I loved meeting with Pace AI to see what they were doing because we have such a huge need for skilled tradespeople, and to really make it easier, more accessible for people to enter this industry is just amazing what you're doing. And I'm also excited that we were able to join you for part of your pre-apprenticeship courses. Yes. So a lot of us here were kind of behind the scenes and got to see, a sneak peek of what you're about to release. So would you share a little bit more about your pre-apprenticeship program?
I would love to share about our pre-apprenticeship program. It actually started in a conversation with an electrician, which is what's really cool about the apprenticeship ecosphere, right? We assess the needs of industry, and what industry was telling us is they are so busy, they need people so much, they can't hire, which sounds like that can't happen, right? You need to hire. But they're so busy, they can't take someone off the job to train the other people. They need people with more skills. So I started thinking, okay, we have applicants that aren't getting hired. They need them, what do we need to do? So let's build that next bridge. So we took a pre-apprentice book that IEC Florida West Coast along IEC Chesapeake had already written, and it was book format. I said, how can we break down some barriers? So we started using our learning management system that ATP has. We dropped the book in there digitally. We then dropped Pace AI into it next and ingested it. So it's ingesting the whole curriculum. So when you run it, it is specific to the individual user. So much like a regular chat GPT, it's yours and it learns you. So you can ask questions and it goes down to your level and then starts bringing you up. And then all of the questions are already in there, so it's self-graded as well, so you can do quizzes. And then we were able to video, which was really our last barrier to break down things to Trade Hounds, because the class can be delivered how you and I are sitting, a regular teacher sitting in a regular class. That's ideal, but in some situations, you can't get a cohort full, they can't start. Or maybe someone can't jump in because they're a single mom and have kids at home, so they can't go to school at night. So then we were like, oh, we could do it online. So I could be teaching it, people across the country could be hearing it. That still didn't solve all of them because we still had that person who maybe couldn't hop on at 6 o'clock, at night, or they couldn't do it during the day. So then we're like, well, let's video it. We have these great partners. So you all came in, videoed BJ, the most amazing instructor ever, and with a real class kind of sitting there to learn about the program and to really experience so that those online now can take it on their own speed. If it's a transitioning military person who's maybe in Germany getting ready to come back, they can do it on their time. If it is a single mom who maybe doesn't have the kids on the weekend, she can blow through that. If it is, let's say, someone who's working an underemployed job, they're working at a local gas station, but they have night to do it. They can work every night. So that videoing of this allowed us to make this barrier-breaking program that can be delivered in every possible format, translation available, 250 different languages, scaffold it down to GED level learners. And then at the end, we add our partners at Validate who are validating the actual skills they learn in a digital video like portfolio. And we have students that will be able to go get jobs. Our test on this was every one of our students that were in the first pre-apprentice program were quickly snapped up by the employers because now they already knew they had skin in the game. They were truly interested. If they sent them to get conduit, they weren't coming back with a screwdriver. They had a little bit of it, a little bit of knowledge. And so our employers were breaking down those barriers. They're excited. The future apprentices and employees are excited. I'm excited. We can build more things for our community. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And pre-apprenticeship, as I just learned all week, is going to be a big focus of the DOL. So I'm excited to see that true building of that pipeline or conduit, if you will.
Well, thank you for everything that you do to support young people and people who are transitioning in their careers. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for always telling our story.